Hey, listen. Adrian doesn't know that I'm doing this, but she's giving me the business with this intro she's done. I'm like so over it. So here's the deal. I'm not Adrian. I'm much taller than her. If you haven't been watching it, shame on you. But we want you to tune in. It's been awesome. Part 1 and part 2. If you missed it, go back and get it. I think she's on the way here with that sad intro again. So I'm going to cut it off right here. But enjoy the show, all right?
You're watching Slow Walking with Adrian. And I'm your host, Adrian Lavella. Welcome back to the 3rd episode of the Man Cave series. We are winding down. We only have 1 episode left to go, and then the women will take over. So, help me welcome back my panel guests. Okay, so let's go back into the discussion and continue where we left off. Some of the women wanted to know, can we be more creative in our approach to pull the men out of the man cave sooner?
What was that last word?
Can we be more creative in our approach to pull the men out of the man cave sooner?
Sooner, okay.
Yeah, I'm not married. But if I was married, the way you can get me out of my man cave sooner.
Walk by in that necklace.
We see you, brother.
Uncle Park.
I'm talking about that when you use the word creative. I'm like, creative. Now, let me see.
Because if you gonna pull me out of my place of peace, okay.
This better be for a piece.
We'll give you some man Kool-Aid and let's go get to work.
You're not confusing that tone. You're confusing that tone right there.
I'm watching the Tar Heels play against Duke, and we got 30 seconds left. And you pull me out of my man cave?
Well, nephew, let me encourage you. I done missed a bunch of second halves of football games and bunch of
That's all right. That's all right, Uncle Mike.
So,
that is all right. It's all right. I don't even care if we lost at that point. Okay, I'm sweet.
I didn't even know the game was on a couple of times, okay?
Forgot about the game.
That's funny. That's funny.
Oh.
It's cool what you did because I want to bring this up from the standpoint, I don't want them to think that it's just physical.
Right.
Number one, we can't have a big argument and you coming down to some Victoria's Secrets. That ain't gonna pull me out. We gotta resolve whatever that is first.
That's it. That's it.
It might pull me, but
Because if we don't, the sex is going to be different.
Perfect.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Parks, go back. I didn't hear you. You said we have to solve whatever was going on.
Whatever problem was going on before you came down with that Victoria's Secret, we're gonna have to resolve that before we can enjoy Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? I think sometimes women look at it, not all, but some women look at it as a thing of a makeup gift without doing the conflict resolution. There go that word again.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me. Say you sorry first. Let's get an understanding, and then we're gonna enjoy Victoria's Secret a lot more.
And ladies, no, that ain't the way to say I'm sorry. We need to hear you say it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
We need you to be able to admit from time to time that it was your fault.
There
Okay.
you go. Yep.
Everything is not our fault.
Yeah. So that ain't saying I'm sorry. That should come after you say it. I'm sorry.
Right.
Now let me show you I'm sorry.
Right.
And
That goes both ways because
Yeah, it does. Of course it does. But just the man cave though.
I'll give you that.
We can't speak for y'all.
I'm totally with you on conflict resolution, and that's not the cure-all. And
No.
I think that's
And it ain't playing fair. Let's just keep it real. That ain't fair at all for you to come down here trying to get your point across in the Victoria's Secret.
When you got the power, you got the power.
Amen.
Amen. That's why it ain't fair. That's what makes it not fair. You trying to cloud my thought process all up in here.
My point is, for this generation, I know this is the man cave, but for this generation, I think that women ought to understand that is not the cure-all.
Right.
That's not always what you want.
That's right.
Not always what you want. But anyway, this is not she shedding. This is the man cave. So let me ask you another question.
Yeah.
So let me ask, how long is too long in the man cave?
Too long. That's a totally individual.
Yeah, that's objective.
Question.
Yeah. I can't.
Well, let me rephrase this. How long for you is too long in the man cave?
Okay, there you go. That's better. In my man cave, I have an amnesia device. You feel me? Arguments, God bless me with the ability where wrongs and arguments and stuff like that don't last with me. Thank God. You know what I'm saying? So if I go in there and if I go in there, by the time the commercial comes on or I'm back in the kitchen and I see you, especially the next day, you know, I'm a firm believer in that sun go down thing. And I'm not about to wake up trying to ruin my own day. There's plenty enough stuff out there to ruin it for you. So I don't want to carry things through the week or whatever. And I have amnesia really fast, like a quarterback. You throw an interception, you got to keep it moving. That's where I am. So in my personal man cave, it doesn't take me long at all. As soon as I get quiet enough to reflect, you know, on what was said, who said it, why they said it, and then what we didn't need to say, and now that's what we supposed to say, I'm good. Believe me.
So you were mentioning the physical man cave. But
that's my mental man cave I'm talking about.
You kind of switched it to mental when you
started. Right.
Same thing. But I want everybody to stay on the mental man cave because that's the dilemma for the woman. The physical man cave is not as much.
No, mentally, I'm good.
It's mentally when you are there, but you are not present, and that's very difficult for the woman. So tell me, how long is too long for you in the mental man cave?
I would say too long in the man cave would be that point where it's no longer about that conflict resolution, that coming down and figuring out how we're gonna sort this out, and it becomes more about isolation. I don't where, you know what I'm saying, that detachment, legit, like
right.
But you know what I'm saying, it's real. Like when it becomes that isolation in any relationship is going you know what I'm saying, be degenerative, because you can be separate but not isolated. When you isolated, that's when, you know what I'm saying, it's toxic. So when it goes into that isolation mode, like I don't really need this, or those negative thoughts start to overpower the positive.
It's kind of like what Uncle Mike said about when a woman's through with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. Like if we get to the point where we don't want to be around you, or we working late because we don't want to come home, then we finding something to do. We don't even shop, but we out at the mall. Like,
right, exactly.
That's really bad. That's at that point it's way too long, and that's kind of like what you call checked out.
I think a lot of that can be solved by, you know, both parties coming together. And when we hear the woman say, "I'm sorry," that means so much to us as men, because you can admit to your faults, because sometimes a lot of women don't like to admit when they're wrong, and that's a
right.
But yet it's a requirement for men to say "I'm sorry," because you want to hear us say it, because that makes you move on faster. So like Justin was talking about, that isolation period, a lot of that, we don't want to go into isolation. We just want you to say that you were sorry, and just like you require us to say that we're sorry, so that we move forward. It's not, it has, a lot of times pride gets in the way because nobody wants to be wrong.
Right.
And if you can just admit when you're wrong. Oh my God, it just makes us so much more like, man, I chose the right one because she just said I'm sorry. She was sorry. She apologized to me.
Hello.
So much to us as men because you require it from us.
Yep.
It makes a difference. It makes more sense for everybody to come together and for us to move forward. Like Uncle Park said, he doesn't have that many arguments, but it's like that conflict resolution can happen real quick when people start just apologizing and
there you go.
And when they were sorry.
Rick, because watch this, Adrian. I've been accused because I recognized my wrong, ladies, and I said, you know what, you're right. I apologize. I got accused of placating because of how fast I agreed that I was wrong. Okay, it's like you didn't even think about it. You just saying you sorry so you can be over with this argument. Duh. You know what I'm saying?
That's the Bible. It says, agree with your adversary quickly.
It's true. I am sorry. You said I did this. I recognize it. I don't got to go to the man cave, this one, to go figure out now why did she say no? Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. No, right. You said that too fast. You don't mean it. What is that about?
Well, I'll tell you, that's not every woman.
No.
Most women just want to hear it. And we want to know that your actions have changed.
Right.
And we want to know that it's not going to happen again. And that kind of tells us, you know.
Well, we can't tell y'all that. That's the problem. Yeah. That's the problem.
That's not a guarantee.
We can't tell y'all it ain't going to happen again. But if y'all expect that, that's a problem.
Well, you know, I'm going to go back to Parks. And this is not the woman's thing yet. Okay.
Okay.
They will be, you can rest assured they will be reviewing this tape. But, but going back to Parks, when he said conflict resolution, and that is when your motive is to resolve the conflict.
Right.
You don't have that attitude of, you said it too fast, you whatever. But when you go through the actual conflict resolution, which women are used to it anyway, by the way. Right. When you go through conflict resolution, you've talked through some things. So things have built up to that I'm sorry. So, you know, if the man is listening to, it is questionable if the man is listening to the woman and she's talking and then he goes, I'm sorry, you're right. It's like, are you listening to me or did you just, what's up? Because you didn't participate in the conflict resolution. If you participate in the conflict resolution and say, you know what, when you did that, I probably should have responded another way. You're right.
Okay.
When you don't, for the teacher, when you don't work the problem, we don't know how you got there. So we don't know where your answer is coming from.
That's that 1500 versus 750.
There you go. That's what that is. Because watch this.
Right.
My participation in the conflict resolution was listening to you. Explain how you felt. Explain what was wrong. And I literally have that kind of mind where I can say, you know what? You're right. But what you said y'all looking for is the 1500 words, Will.
Well, no.
This is why I shouldn't have did it this way. I should have said this because when you said that, I should have not did that. So now you know I understand what I did wrong. So now my apology works.
And now I need to go to the man cave.
That's man cave time, sweetheart.
Man cave time all day long.
I'm going to the man cave.
All day long.
I'm sorry, I'm just an OG.
As women, we want to understand what the problem was for us. And the reason why is because if you don't understand what the problem was for us, you are bound to repeat it. And then you'll be looking like a deer in headlights, like, what did I do? And we're thinking, I tried to tell you this the last time. If you just gave me a little feedback, I'd be able to tell you, no, that's not what I'm saying. But because there's no participation, the conflict resolution has to be the two people coming together.
Oh, wow.
So if there's no participation for you to tell me your train of thought, it's likely that you're going to repeat it because you probably don't even understand the part that got to me.
Okay.
For that matter. But when you speak it back, and I'll say it like this, in customer service, when people are repeating themselves over and over again, it means that they feel that you are not understanding them. And so you then need to repeat back what they said to let them know, I got you. So if a woman is talking to a man and they're resolving conflict, and this is not the woman's version, I did not intend to do this. This is meant.
No, but you helping the man cave.
Yeah, he's helping us.
But if the woman is talking to the man, she wants him to be able to repeat back something for her to understand. I know you understood me, because our languages are different. And so even when you guys were talking about respect for a woman, that would mean something totally different. I was going to ask you exactly what does that look like? Because for every woman, based on how she was raised, if she was raised in a home with no man there, then respect looks differently for her based on how she saw her mother treat somebody else. If she's raised in a house with a man, then respect is going to look different. If she's raised in a house with a man that the woman ran, the respect is going to look different. I mean, when you say that, they're so different. So when we're talking to you, we understand that. We need you to tell us, I get you.
Okay, so let me tell the ladies, since y'all want to know what we think, I'm going to tell you what Uncle Mike thinks. Okay?
I'm almost afraid of this answer.
There's a thin line between respecting my sensitivity, my intelligence, my caring, and my ability to listen to you when you say, okay, now repeat back to me what I just said to you. Or tell me what I meant by what I just said, as opposed to me saying, you know what, sweetheart, I got it. You're right. I understand it. Right. But if that's not, it's an individual thing too. But if that's not good enough, you ladies have to be careful with the way you handle that, because that's a man cave retreater if I ever seen one. It's like, I heard you the first time. Okay. No, I need to know that you heard me. Tell me what I said. You know what I'm saying? That means you don't even trust me, which is the problem with the apology. You don't trust the apology because you thought we checked out somewhere doing the explanation. So just be careful with that particular response of, I need to know if you understood what I just said to you.
I agree.
Because watch this, I'm the kind of man that's going to say, what do you mean by that? Long before the apology.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you on that.
It's because I got it.
When I said a woman wants to hear that, that is not to imply that a woman should be saying, tell me what I said.
But it comes off like that. That's
like
all I'm
talking
saying.
to a child. So that's not what I'm implying. I'm just telling you what's in our mind. So if a woman is saying, tell me what I mean, repeat that back to me, you've got issues beyond this conflict resolution.
You did it. Congratulations on your business. What they didn't tell you is that 24 hours in a day is just not enough for people like you who make it happen. Still working on those social media pages? We can do that for you. Haven't gotten around to building that website? Consider it done. Your business needs a logo that represents you. We do that. If only you had an assistant. Phone calls, letters, emails, an assistant. We get it, and we do that too. So tell me, is that book of yours still waiting to be edited? Let's finish it together. We are your affordable virtual team that adds 24 hours to your 24 hours. If you're asking that question, yep, we do that too. Basically virtual. You can't afford not to.
If you would like to be a sponsor of Slow Walk It with Adrian and have your business appear here, simply go to our Facebook or Instagram page. Send us a DM. We'd love to have you. Now, back to our show.
Adrian, I wanted to say, since you said about respect, okay? And you was talking about where the woman comes from or where an individual comes from. That's why it's important. I may not say for the woman to say to me, repeat what I said, but I'll say, tell me what you mean by that. Because you may have a different meaning. Right. It's totally different to you than it does to me. And I'm judging it on my perception of what I think it means. And sometimes caught up in word semantics and somebody's thinking it means something else. That's why it's important sometimes to say, okay, Mike made a very good point. Listen. I like to listen. And then when I listen, I say, okay, I know what I think that means, but let me make sure I got this straight. Tell me when you say this, what does that mean to you? Now I know I got a clear understanding. So I think it's all about how we relate that to one another. And those levels of respect, I think that, you mentioned about where that woman comes from, where that man comes from. This is why there has to be a general rule of thumb of what respect really is. It shouldn't be like truth is relative. When I say truth is this to you and that to me, then I mean there's no absolute truth. That can't be. So there is an absolute fine line of what respect is. Now we have to determine what that is, and then we both can move in that direction of what respect means to both of us, based on what respect really is and not what you were brought up to believe. You know what I mean? Because I hear people say that. I've heard people say, that's just the way I am. Well, just the way you are may mean you need to change.
That's right.
That's right. I shouldn't be able to say, that's just the way I am. Nor should she. You know, again, becoming selfless and not selfish. And that's just wanted to say that because, you know, that respect thing goes both ways. And I think we need to determine what that is, because Mikey used that line. He said, fine line. I don't think that sometime in expression, the respect is lost in expression because a person is saying, I'm just telling you how I feel. You heard the men say earlier, it's the way you say it.
Right.
Come talk to me a certain way. There is the respect. And the likewise for a woman, I'm saying both parties, but I can specifically speak from a man's standpoint. It will turn a man off when he feels like it has not been presented to him in a way for conflict resolution instead of debate or argument. Or, are you hearing me? I tell people all the time, love supplies, selfishness demands. Love supplies.
There you go.
You know, so I'm gonna be on the supply end, and then we can meet the demand.
That's Rich.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bottle up Parks, and then I'm going to sell them to married couples.
Exactly. Well, that's Parks' gift. So we all go to Parks for that.
Can I pre-order a bottle?
That's his gift.
Let me ask you this. Do you recall times in your childhood or young adulthood when your father retreated mentally? And what was the effects on the effects of him retreating for such a long time, the effects on the whole family? And I'll say this with, and preface it with this, if it's not too late. And that is, as we get older and we mature, we start to see our parents as people and start to be able to rightfully analyze the decisions that they made based on the hand they were dealt. So not to say that you agree with your dad's decision, but do you recall a time where your father perhaps retreated? Now that you probably from this mindset can understand that he was retreating, that he retreated and the effect that it had on the family as a whole.
Well, I'll start this one off because my dad retreated when I was 5 years old, and I ain't seen him since. That's
I knew I was going to go there.
Which is the case.
No. I mean, he left us when I was 5. So that's pretty, for me, that's not I can't use him as an example for that. So I can't answer.
Now that I'm grown, and see, I'm 62, so y'all know, 61. So I came up in the twin bed Ozzie and Harriet era, so I didn't see my parents argue. They refused to do that in front of us, which was not a good thing because it didn't teach us conflict resolution, number one. Number two, though, my dad was a pastor, and I used to tell young cats when I would go out and speak to them, nephews, but I know what it's like to have an absentee dad living in the house, because the church demanded so much of his time, all day, every day. He's helping other people with their kids. Now, bring it back to your point. Was my dad using that as his mental man cave for some reason or another? You know what I'm saying? Did he have to be gone that much? Or how many times did he choose to be gone? You know what I'm saying? So thank you for that, because that just opened up a whole nother thought process with me. Because I'm like Carlos almost. I can't speak to it because I never saw any kind of relationship kind of stuff. If they said one thing, it was, honey, wait till we get home. The kids are in the car. You know what I'm saying? Never any conflict in front of us. But was that church thing his man cave?
Yeah, I had a different situation. My example is that he didn't do the man cave, and it destroyed the family.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Because he never went away. He just exploded all the time, and it destroyed the family. And I wish that now, looking at it, I wish he had stepped away, because our lives as kids would be so much different.
Let me jump in and say my father was there, but he was always in the man cave with a cigarette and watching the game, watching TV after work Saturday. And so what ended up happening is my brother and I grew up kind of raising ourselves with a father around, and didn't teach us much of anything, of how to treat our mother, how to act with our mother and other people, and how you're supposed to learn different things as a young man. So what ended up happening as my brother and I became adults is that we always had a very loving relationship, but we never felt that connectivity to be close, to be around. You know, we just pick up where we left off. And then even after my father passed away, my mother said, well, you know, your father's passed now, let us be close. And I'm telling you, some people can't even understand it. It is so hard for us to be close like families do. You know, I'm going to see my brother. He's coming over here. I'm going to see my sister. I'm going to see my mother. And even that, sometimes I'm very ashamed of it. But sometimes my mother's still alive, but it may be a day or two before I talk to her. And I say I need to talk to my mother every day. But that is a direct, there's a correlation to how my father interacted. So we don't even think about it until it has to come to our mind. So
we got the same story.
Well, I can say up until the age of 13, I have my biological father, but of course I have a twin sister. He wasn't really there. We would go to my grandparents and he would come check on us on the weekend, but I lived with my stepfather. And, you know, there were times where my mom and, you know, my stepfather never argued like that, but he would definitely go to his mental man cave, and he would drive and, you know, come back to recollect himself, because he was never disrespectful to my mom, and he would drive and, you know, take a drive around the corner or whatever, and, you know, smoking cigarettes, and then he would come back home. And, you know, but in my mind, I felt like there was a level of balance that he brought to the family, because although we were taxing on him, he was still able to provide and still make sure that the house was in order. And, you know, unfortunately he did pass when I was 13. And then after that, it's almost like, you know, my mom was left like, you know, that responsibility became mine to be the man of the house. So age of 13. So, you know, it was a lot of pressure, because I'm like, you know, this man went on to be with the Lord, and now that's my responsibility. So I was like, I'm not doing this. I can't. I'm too young. I'm in high school playing basketball, you know, whatever. But going back to your question, there was a level of balance that I saw between my stepfather and, you know, and how he kind of showed the family how to stay in balance, even though he would go to his mental man cave. I'm grateful that he did that, so that he could kind of get himself together, so that he could be what we needed him to be during that time.
And I know that I saw, I think it was Mike Durham wanted to interject. I just want to say that women need to understand that those of us that have those father wounds, this is amazing that we can actually talk about it. Now, I don't know if you caught that, but everybody, when they had to talk about your father, if there's a wound there, our tone drops. We're not as loud. We're not as confident. So this being vulnerable right now needs to be appreciated.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have left. Until next time, I'm Adrienne Lavella, reminding you that when life throws you challenges, we'll get through it together. We'll love together. We'll forgive together. We'll heal together. Let's do life together. I'll see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m.